Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Howdy from sweltering Pittsburgh, PA, although it could be sweltering any place. In fact, we don't have it as bad as a whole heck of a lot of other Americans. So anyway, hello. So it turns out that apparently we didn't obliterate the Iranians' facility. Total obliteration. I guess not. Anyone who believes anything that comes out of that guy's mouth is an idiot. Okay? We'll all admit that. Okay, I don't want to talk about that yet. I want to talk about the New York primary because that's whoa. I love that Cuomo got his behind kicked. I love it. I love it. And I don't think it was what he was expecting. The winner, we'll get to know him. New Yorkers more, of course, than we will, but Zoran Mamdani. So that's a name that's going to take me a while to get into my head and say right. But young guy. So those who have been wanting to see young blood in positions of authority in the Democratic Party, well, you're seeing it. He ain't mayor yet. And in fact, this was the primary. One can assume that whoever is running as the Democrat in New York City is going to win, but you'd be incorrect, wouldn't you? Because I give you Michael Bloomberg for one. I give you Rudy Giuliani for another. So New York does not necessarily elect the Democrat. You'll have the current mayor in, the loathsome, should be behind bars. Why am I blanking on his name? He's like history, Eric Adams. He'll be running as an independent. You'll have the perennial Curtis Sliwa of the, God, why am I, I got that old person head today. The Guardian Angels, is that it? Yeah, sounds right. He doesn't have a chance. So, I mean, odds are Mamdani is, without a doubt, the front runner. It's still conceivable that God damn it, Cullen, that Cuomo will choose to make another try running as an independent. By the way, that's what the incumbent Eric Adams is running as well. And then you've got Republicans, but no one of I think note, although who knows. I think there's a guy. Let me think. What's his name? Jim Walden. How'd I come up with that name, for God's sakes? And he's like a former, I think, U.S. attorney. And I think, well, I don't know. He's running either as another independent but that's a possible guy too. I don't know who the Republicans are putting up. Whatever. Anyway, the thing about Zoran Mamdani, I keep wanting to say his name incorrectly, is that he's not just a Democrat. He's a democratic socialist. Yeah. So for those who think that the Democratic Party needs to head more toward the center to attract folks we lost to the Republicans on social issues, are not going to be happy necessarily with this move to obviously the left. Zoran Mamdani is of the same uh, persuasion as Allegheny County executive in Amarato. Why do they all come with such unpronounceable names? Whatever happened to Smith and Jones? Anyway, Zoran Mamdani, extremely charismatic, handsome, charming, well spoken, likable. He just charmed the pants off of the voters. And I mean, he did things like he'd go for walks in throughout the city in the evening. And personally, I mean, must have shaken God knows how many hands. He walked the length of Manhattan. I forget how many miles that is, but it's like, I don't know, 12, 14, 13, 14 miles. He walked the entire length one night. Um, and you know, this is a leisurely stroll talking to anybody and everybody he met. And man, that worked. And he has a real lefty, unapologetically lefty platform. He believes people should be able to ride buses for free. He believes the city should run grocery stores to make sure that everybody's getting a fair shake and getting food. I mean, he's way out there in that way. Where the money comes for a lot of what he wants to do, he wants affordable rents in New York City. He wants affordable housing. Who would be against any of that? How is the big question. I can see people voting for the aspirational nature of what he offers because it's wonderful. I just not sure how in reality it translates into um, anything real in reality. That was not a well done sentence. I should maybe start over today. I thought I slept well last night. Therein might be the problem. I'm usually sleep deprived and more capable of putting a sentence together. Anyway, I we're just gonna wait and see. I know my niece who lives in New York is very excited, and young people are very excited about this guy. He took the youth vote by a gazillion percentage points. So again, if Democrats want to look to their young, they're going to have to look at this kind of a candidate. And here's the reality: the Democratic establishment poured $25 million into Cuomo's campaign. Uh-huh. They bet on the losing horse again. The Democratic Party establishment is truly uh, just out of it, just out of it, picking the wrong candidate over and over and over again. I don't know. I don't know what that means. On the other hand, the youth, the young voters, I don't necessarily agree with them on an awful lot of stuff, but they are the future. I read something that I thought was really good and what we should note, and what the Democratic Party leadership needs to get through their idiotic heads. That Democrats have to build. We always thought we had the big tent. Well, we've lost a ton of people from our tent. We've got to understand how to get them back. And here's one thing that might not have occurred to a lot of folks. Getting young people excited and getting them back might mean a different kind of Democrat in New York City than one would have in, I don't know, pick a state, North Carolina somewhere. If Democrats are a big tent party, we've got to have room for Zoran Mamdani and his energized young people. And we've got to have room for, I think, a very impressive moderate Democrat from Western Pennsylvania, Chris Deluzio, because these are people who win. And Democrats have to be able to say, I'm thrilled that Zoran Mamdani won, or is probably going to. I'm thrilled that a guy like Chris Deluzio won. I see Connor Lamb, remember him? Is clearly going after Fetterman and a lot of other folks. And he's another sort of moderate, good for Western Pennsylvania, good for Pennsylvania Democrat. The Pennsylvania Democrats wouldn't win statewide with a Zoran Mamdani, but they would with a Chris Deluzio or maybe a Connor Lamb. And we've got to be able to welcome each other. Anyone who can attract voters in red states, in urban areas, in rural areas, and who run as Democrats should be welcomed by all. And I think the Democratic Party establishment is just asleep at the switch, incapable of change, so calcified, and I don't know. Now, I want to say this about Zoran Mamdani because New York City is home to the largest concentration of Jews in the world outside of Israel. Zoran Mamdani is a Muslim. And so for this city of Jews, a huge concentration of Jews, to have a Muslim mayor is, yeah, a little daunting. It's had Jewish mayors. It's had black mayors. You know what New York never has had? A woman. What's that about? I mean, I never even recall a woman really even in the running. I mean, they've run in primaries. What's that about? I think most cities in the country have had women mayors. Might be wrong about that. I don't think Philly has either. Whatever. I just want to say that there was one upsetting thing I did read about Zoran Mamdani, and I've continued to read more about it, trying again to be a big tent Democrat. And that means, guys, not having to have a candidate agree with you on every issue. That kind of litmus test, that's what kills a party. It kills a party. And where Mamdani and I would part company is in his full-throated support of, I won't say Hamas, but because I don't think he technically supports Hamas, but his support for the Palestinian people has led him to say things that makes a Jew very nervous, because he has said globalize the Intifada, and he has refused to take that back, even though to a Jewish ear, globalize the Intifada means kill Jews everywhere. It's what it sounds like to a Jew. The Intifada, as we came to even first hear of that term, was used by the Palestinians in Israel as they started terror campaigns against Israelis. But globalize, what does that have to do with the Palestinians? Then it just seems like it's about killing Jews, which we've started to see. So I would argue that for a person who's going to be the mayor of a city holding the largest concentration of Jews in the world outside of Israel, to not be able to comprehend how Jews feel about that phrase is a part of this charming man that disappoints me. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Disappoints me. Now, I had read somewhere that he found in his defense, and it's fascinating, it's actually very interesting. I hope I get this right. He said that the United States Holocaust Museum, I think he at some point, at the Holocaust Museum, he said that it translates all of its exhibits and its information into a whole ton of languages. And in the US Holocaust Museum's translation for Muslims in Arabic of the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, in which doomed Jews in Warsaw, Poland, with no chance, still killed as many Nazis as they could and went down fighting a hopeless battle. And Mamdani says, if you look at the Arabic translation from the US Holocaust Museum, they translate the word uprising, Warsaw Ghetto uprising, into Arabic as intifada. And he says, now, it's true. The Holocaust Museum has since replaced intifada with another word they found, which is, yeah, also usable, but it ain't intifada. But that somehow somebody found that, and that's what he's relying on to say, I'm not backing off. The fact is the Holocaust Museum called the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising an intifada, and that didn't have anything to do with, genocide of Jews, other than Jews trying to save themselves. And then I guess Jews went nuts that he used the Warsaw Ghetto while defending the term globalized intifada. And guys, here's the rabbit holes we go into. I wish he would be a bit more nuanced, but he's coming from a different lived experience. He's a Muslim. And we can't just talk about diversity and getting along and being in a big tent and not understand that people come from different places. I don't know. I'm willing to give this guy uh, the benefit of the doubt on that one, although I am unhappy with it. And because I do think that globalize the intifada has come as it's screamed from mouths around the world to mean attack Jews. So that's all I'm saying. But wow. Wow. And beware of all you're going to be reading now about, oh, well, this shows the Democrats are going this way or that way. As I said, keep in mind that if Democrats are to ever succeed nationally again, we have got to attract Muslim Americans, democratic socialists, conservative Democrats. And there are such. We've got to be able to be with all. Sit comfortably with diversity. Anyway, so Trump. Did I miss a press con? He gave a press conference maybe earlier this morning. He's on his way out of NATO. I can't bear the guy. I just can't. I can't listen. I listened enough the other day, and I can't do it. I'm sorry. So he'll be insane because of this leaked report that the damage done to the Iran nuclear program was, it was bullseye, right on the money. But here's what it told the world. I think our bunker busting bombs can't get through that mountain. It showed the limitation of dealing with Iran's nuclear facility with airstrikes. No one's got a bomb big enough. We don't, nobody does. And it was pinpoint. And as far as the initial intelligence goes, everything's still probably pretty much okay. They can't get into the facility, but they'll dig themselves back in. And the other thing is, and I've often wondered about this, because there was all this talk about hitting them with the bunker busting bomb. Now they're telling us that the odds are that the Iranians, understandably, took all their enriched uranium out from under the mountain and put it other places. So I I mean it's fascinating that the stuff that we're told initially, even by, what I think are reputable journalistic sources, so often I guess leaves stuff out that we only find out later after something hasn't, like I didn't know that assessments prior to the bombs being dropped were that the uranium was gone, were that this probably could not penetrate enough. But I didn't hear any of that. Did you? Maybe. And then I saw Democrats freaking out that they were supposed, Congress was to be given information about this, and those meetings were postponed and then postponed again. And now we understand why they were postponed and postponed again, because the assessment was it didn't work. And living in Trump world, that assessment is not to be believed because it's not what our leader said. And I don't know about you, but I am really getting sick of living in this Orwellian world of having people in our government in positions of authority telling us lies that we know are lies, and then, punitively going after members of their own establishment who have refused to go along with the lies. So, coming into, I mean, I feel for the guys who put this initial report out, not the ones who leaked it, the ones who made the assessment, which is their job. Because they'll probably, yeah, their heads will roll. So that anyone who's got a job in national intelligence who wants to keep their heads and their jobs are going to start telling Trump what he wants to hear. In other words, not the truth, which will, of course, leave us so unbelievably vulnerable. It's mind blowing. So, his blather notwithstanding. And then you have, God, is she not the creepiest human ever? The press secretary, Carolyn Lever. It's Levitt, whatever the fuck her name is. So their own defense assessment is it didn't do much. And she says this alleged assessment is flat out wrong, like she would know, and was classified as top secret, but was still leaked by an anonymous low-level loser. See how they all now have to talk like him? Leaked by a low-level loser in the intelligence community, in a clear attempt to demean President Trump. Everyone knows, she said, what happens when you drop 14 30,000-pound bombs perfectly on their targets. Total obliteration. So, who you gonna believe? Trump's mouthpiece? Or the guys who have spent their lives and have the expertise of assessing the result? To the layman's eyes, to the wishful thinker's eyes, it might have looked like total obliteration, but it wasn't. And now, of course, the unsettling thing is that Iran now knows we don't have any way to bomb them out of their enrichment facility. So, I don't know. Do not believe a word coming out of this White House. I can't. I can't bear living in this in their world, because it is so demeaning. It tells me I'm a piece of crap, a credulous piece of crap who is to be told what I'm seeing, told what is real. And this is George Orwell's nightmare, and we're living in it. And then this Carolyn Levitt, whatever her name is, goes on Fox and says this. Unbelievable. Here's what the genius says. Nobody knows what it means to accomplish peace through strength better than President Trump. He is the one who came up with that motto and that foreign policy doctrine. What? So now she's crediting Donald Trump with coming up with the motto, the phrase, peace through strength. Oh, dear. Well, then he must have whispered it to almost every other president before him, because I swear to God, I have heard probably every president say peace through strength. And in fact, somebody looked it up. And as far as is known, peace through strength has been, I'll use her word because it's so wrong, motto, has been a motto that has been employed by presidents, kings, queens, dictators, leaders throughout history. Donald Trump did not invent the motto. How pathetic is it, his need to be credited with pretty soon we'll be being told that he created the atom bomb. that anything that is known up until now was his idea. They would say it too with a straight face, because that's the craziness we're living in. No, the phrase "peace through strength" traces back to guess who, and maybe even farther than this. But as far as historians can tell, the first person to use it was the Roman Emperor Hadrian. You know, Hadrian's wall? In that regard, he and Trump have something in common. Maybe that's what mixed her up. It was some strong man who built a wall. Must have been Donald Trump. No, it was Hadrian, who ruled from about 117 to 138. He not only built walls, he also used mercenaries. Hadrian. Just saying. How do you think, I mean, does she have no capacity for embarrassment, or I wouldn't say shame, because, and Ben says, remember Trump claimed to have created the phrase priming the pump? He did? What? What? Oh, why not? You know, he'll make off with every adage that my dear Ben Franklin came up with. Yeah. You know, it was Trump who said a stitch in time saves nine. Yes. Can't believe you didn't know that. Hey, by the way, speaking of true and false, I yesterday was unhappy in that I shared with you. Well, I'm not unhappy I shared it because I loved it. This letter that was purportedly, this is where I was wrong, written by Liz Cheney. And it turns out I was hardly the only one duped. A lot of folks everywhere were duped because that letter was all over the place. And this much I do now know about the author. The author is a woman, and she goes by the moniker Dr. Prue, P-R-U, Lee, L-E-E, Dr. Prue Lee. And it is she who wrote that as a Facebook post. So, to give credit where credit is due, I mean, people freaked out about it because it just was such a muscular call to arms for the hapless Democrats, uh, the Democratic leadership. And all I can garner about her is she is a political activist and educator. Uh, she uses the nickname Prue Prue on Facebook. If you wanna, what do you do on Facebook? Friender, PRU. And she works in education, and she doesn't obviously like a lot of attention because it's hard to find stuff on her that holds, that's real. Um, she's not a medical doctor. She has a PhD in something or other. So that is all that I have been able to garner. Um, oh, and there's this I wanted to share with you. Uh, the federal government has one less contract player. I forget what they call him, temporary employee, because Big Balls has left the building. You remember Big Balls? God help us. He was one of Elon Musk's Doge boys. He was the one who was believed to be one of the bigger actors among his boys. And to call him a boy is not that incorrect. He graduated from high school last year. This is a guy, graduated from high school last year, who was the one with some of his other bros who went in and grabbed up access to federal agencies' computers to get all that information and give it to, right, Elon and other bigger tech bros like Peter Thiel and Karp and these others at Palantir, who we were talking about yesterday, who are going to be compiling it all and literally having digital ID on all of us. He was the key player on Musk's team that went in and just created havoc in the first month or two of Trump's second administration. He graduated from high school last year. His name is actually Edward Korestein. And he has resigned. "19 years old. Man, I don't know how he follows up that kind of start. Maybe he'll go to college. I guess he doesn't need to. But just so you know. And one of the things that Doge and beside it seems like ancient history now, right? All those people thrown out of their jobs in agencies throughout the government. Some agencies totally crippled, not functioning anymore. And the FBI under Kash Patel, God help us, and this Bongino jerk happily reduced its ranks and then gave a whole bunch of its FBI agents to ICE to help round up hardworking, unpapered, properly papered people in the country. So a whole bunch of FBI agents were pulled from their normal duties to focus on rounding people up. Their normal duties, by the way, counterterrorism, counterintelligence, cyber security. And guess what? Since our devastating bombing of the Iranian facility, there is concern that Iranian sleeper cells will become active in this country. It's a concern I shared with you yesterday. I mean, to think that the Iranians are not going to exact more of revenge is absurd. So the FBI is now caught flat-footed in a time of vulnerability to domestic terrorist attack, not by Americans, because God knows we got enough of those here, but by Iranians. And so they have been ordering back a lot of the guys who they so blithely dispatched to help ICE. You know, for Patel and Bongino and these idiots, all of a sudden they realize that that there was a reason for those people they threw out or misappropriated. There was a reason they were in jobs they were in. And it had to do with truly securing the homeland. Their idea, this administration's idea of securing the homeland, is hunting down, I can't even bear it anymore, hunting down hardworking, undocumented immigrants with brown skin and black skin. They ain't doing it for white ones. And white ones maybe even outnumber them. Get that through your heads. It's true. Okay, and the cruelty and just horror of this god-awful group. Did you see what Florida's doing? At the behest, I'm sure, of the feds, but Florida will be in charge. Florida is taking, I guess, a pretty much abandoned airstrip in the Everglades, and it's sticking up a bunch of tents there, and they're going to open for business real soon and take in some of these poor immigrants that are being rounded up. So, because there are not facilities for all of these people. So Florida said, we can help. We'll build this detention facility here. What better place to hold these people than in the sweltering summer in a swamp, on a landing strip, in a tent? There is no other structures there. Florida's happily doing it, says it'll cost almost $450 million a year to run, but no expense too great for getting these rapists and murderers off our streets. And amazingly, our Department of Homeland Security has told Florida that they could request reimbursement for some of the costs from FEMA. Now that's fascinating. Since last we looked, they're intending to wipe FEMA off the map. They're saying that the Feds should have nothing to do with helping communities hit by weather events or other catastrophes. It was the business of the states. And as Trump has said, if the governors can't handle it, they probably shouldn't be governors. But somehow, detaining thousands of hardworking brown people in tents in a swamp on an airstrip is the kind of thing that FEMA would be, and the feds, happy to help with reimbursement. Florida's very excited about this. They said, you know what's really great about this is we don't have to spend anything on security because all that surrounds this airstrip is swamp, alligators, and pythons. And then they laugh. They're calling it alligator Alcatraz. Ha ha ha. A guy who works with immigrants said, the fact that the Trump administration and its allies in Florida would even consider such a huge temporary facility on such a short timeline with no obvious plan for how to adequately staff medical and other necessary services. What, you want them fed too? In the middle of a Florida summer is demonstrative of their callous disregard for the health and safety of the human beings they intend to imprison there. It simply shocks the conscience. Well, yeah, it does. But see, here's the thing. These guys don't have a conscience. They are without conscience. They are budding sociopaths all. Oh my God, Milton, you're kidding me. It's George Orwell's birthday today. Wow. Wow. George, you're lucky you're dead. George Orwell, born 6/25, 1903. Yeah, happy birthday. My God. Okay, so hey, did you see? I know there's all this stuff about friggin' Bezos' wedding in Venice, and all that crapola. But speaking of crapola, and Bezos is crap. In fact, um, did you see that? You know, Bezos lives on. I mean, lives. He has a million homes, but one of them is at a place called Indian Creek Village in that wonderful aforementioned state of Florida. Yeah, Indian Creek Village. And this is an island. It's a little island, as islands go, but it's an island. And in fact, only a few dozen homes are on it. Bezos's one being amongst them. And Tom Brady, quarterback, he has a place on the island as well. So that's two. That's two of the 12. Oh, here's a third. Ivanka and Jared and the little kitties, they too have a place on Indian Creek Island. So it's obviously rather exclusive. But here's the thing. Anybody there has got to have, obviously, billions. In fact, one of the last lots just sold. It's a vacant piece of land on this island, and it sold for $110 million. That's just the land. Okay. Now, here's the problem. On this island, apparently, there's no place for the sewage that is created by these billionaire butts to go. And the billionaires at Indian Creek have been under pressure, I can't imagine, for decades to get rid of these shallow septic systems that they have, because after all, we would expect them to remedy this. They have shallow septic systems that are leaking their crap into Biscayne Bay, which is a very delicate and vulnerable ecosystem. So, can you imagine these billionaires? Their shit is going into Biscayne Bay, and they push back against efforts to have them remedy the situation. You think you would not have to remedy such a situation at your expense? So what these jerks did, the billionaires said, is they said, well, okay, we'll send our shit through the pipes of the nearest town, Surfside. And the Surfside folks said, well, okay, but you gotta pay us about 10 million to help cover the cost of the system. And the billionaires, Bezos, Brady, the Kushners, they fought. Can you imagine? It is pocket change to them. They fought and pulled strings. And so, lo and behold, when the Florida state legislature passed a bill that was for the Department of Transportation, there was a little provision that was tucked in there, which said, well, it didn't specifically say Indian Creek Village, but it absolutely only applied to them and said that they cannot be required to pay for their sewer project. Both houses of the Florida legislature approved the measure. Last Friday, the official legislative docket indicated that Governor DeSantis had signed it. And there it is. You know, my contempt for these people is uncontainable. I can't comprehend how they sleep at night, but they do. They do. Bezos, Brady, Kushner. I don't know who the other, 9 are that live on this place. But, yeah, the Florida legislature is going to take care of their shit. Literally, figuratively. Oh my God, I didn't see what time it was. Jesus. Okay, guys, that's it. You will be happy to hear that tomorrow is the last Thursday of the month of June. And consequently, I am ordered to have what is called a Throwback Thursday, which means no talk of alligator Alcatraz or Jeff Bezos's shit. I don't know what the F I'm going to think of, but we'll come up with something, I promise. So you look forward to that, and I'll just get anxious about it, okay? But that's a deal, okay? I hope. Stay cool.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.